travel back to 380 million years ago to the Devonian Period, you can witness the historic moment when your human ancestors first moved from the ocean onto land. It was this small fish that opened the era in which vertebrates would dominate the Earth. Today, we continue our journey through Earth's history. Episode 7, the Devonian Period. You might think that the fish that bravely stepped onto land was a hero who broke through chaos and wrote the legend of life. You're wrong. It was not a hero at all. It was a desperate fugitive, a creature being relentlessly chased by the shadow of death, using all its strength to support its body with 4 primitive limbs, scrambling onto land in panic. But what was it running from? The answer lies in the calm blue ocean in front of you. The Devonian Period is also called the Age of Fishes. For the first time, the oceans became truly alive and crowded. Reefs were larger and denser than today, stretching for hundreds of kilometers like underwater palaces. Fish of all kinds swam, competed, and evolved into countless shapes and abilities. The ocean had never been so vibrant. Sunlight penetrated the clear water, casting shimmering patterns on the seafloor. Everything looked almost too perfect to be real. But before you could admire it, a shadow suddenly appeared in the water, nearly 10 meters long, covered in thick bony armor like an ancient warship emerging from the depths. This was Dunkleosteus, the true ruler of the Devonian seas. Unlike sharks, it had no sharp teeth. Instead, it had 2 powerful bony blades with edges like surgical knives that never dull. With immense bite force, it could crush shells, break bones, and even slice large prey in half. Fossils show fish bones with perfectly clean cuts, evidence left behind 400 million years ago. Almost every creature in the ocean lived under its shadow. Small fish had no chance to resist, hiding in coral crevices, holding their breath, praying not to be found. Seeing Dunkleosteus was like a foot soldier facing a legendary general. Look, survival was all that mattered, but Dunkleosteus alone was not enough. The Devonian oceans were an endless arms race. At the same time, sharks were undergoing explosive evolution, developing a weapon system that still exists today, replaceable serrated teeth. When one tooth wears out, another immediately replaces it, keeping their bite forever sharp. This design was so effective that sharks have barely changed it for 400 million years, proving it is an evolutionary endpoint. Life became harder for the weak. Some fish were forced into shallow waters and tidal pools, lying in muddy puddles as oxygen slowly disappeared. These shallow environments often became oxygen poor due to drought. Fish would suffocate silently as the water ran out of oxygen, but one type of fish survived, the lungfish. It developed lungs not to conquer land, but to survive in dying pools by gasping for air at the surface. This fish teaches a simple truth. Evolution is never driven by dreams, but by desperation, and the true disaster had not even begun. The real apocalypse came from land, from quietly growing forests. In the mid to late Devonian, the first tall plants appeared on Earth. They were no longer low mosses, but real trees with deep roots. These roots penetrated rock layers, releasing acids that dissolved minerals like phosphorus and iron. Meanwhile, vast forests transported nutrients into the oceans. The oceans became overloaded with nutrients. At first, it looked like a feast for marine life, but in reality, it was the beginning of death. Algae exploded in population. Within months, the ocean surface was covered in thick, green, foul-smelling mats. Sunlight was blocked completely, plunging the underwater world into darkness. Then came the worst part. When the algae died, billions of tons sank to the seafloor, consuming all remaining oxygen during decomposition. Soon, vast regions became anoxic zones. The once clear seafloor turned into a toxic abyss filled with hydrogen sulfide. Water became dark and poisonous. Almost nothing could survive. Even the powerful Dunkleosteus, once the unstoppable ruler, opened its mouth in the darkness, trying to breathe, but there was no oxygen left. One by one, it sank lifelessly. This was the late Devonian mass extinction. 75% of marine species disappeared. No asteroid, no supervolcano, only trees, growing too successfully. And in this dying world, a creature called Tiktaalik used its special limb-like fins with bones and joints to drag itself onto muddy land. There was no food. The sun burned its skin. Temperatures swung violently between day and night, but it was still better than dying in the sea. It did not know that this single movement would open the future of all vertebrates. Millions of years later, fins became legs, gills became lungs, skin learned to retain moisture, and its descendants spread across every continent, took to the skies, and eventually stood upright to look at the stars. 359 million years ago, the Devonian ended. It left behind a scarred ocean, a land covered in forests, and the first clumsy amphibians stepping onto land, unaware of the future. But that step became the most important moment in the history of life on Earth. Not because it was glorious, but because it survived.